The authority's vice chair, the chair, trustee Gamache, is out of town right now, so I will be filling in for him. I would like to call this meeting to order and start with a roll call of the trustees, please.
Trustee Brasted. Here. Trustee Reinert.
Here.
Trustee Schulte.
Here.
Trustee Look.
Here.
Trustee Jepson.
Here.
Trustee Meisner.
Here.
Thank you. Moving on, chair's remarks. I don't have any remarks at this time, so we'll move on to a few agenda items. The first being the consideration of approving the minutes from the ACHRA board meeting held on June 27, 2023.
So moved. Second.
There is a second, there is a first and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Thank you. Moving on. The consideration authorizing the chair or executive director to execute a subscription agreement with the City of St. Paul to provide services related to the work of the Twin Cities Section 3 Collaborative for a term of 3 years beginning July 1st, 2023 for $4,000 per calendar year. Could I get a motion and a second for that item?
I'll move it.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Trustee Reinert.
Aye.
Trustee Schulte.
Aye.
Trustee Look.
Aye.
Trustee Jepson.
Aye.
Trustee Meisner.
Aye.
Trustee Brasted.
Aye.
Thank you. And the next item is a consideration for approving a lease agreement contract C 0009898 with Bolt Law Firm located within the Anoka Law Center building at 2150 3rd Avenue, Suite 350. The lease terms are through 2029 based on their assigned lease, but with a net lease which establishes a base rent and then a common area maintenance charge for taxes and maintenance. Bolt is also requesting a build-out loan, which will be provided at a 6% rate. Is there a motion and a second for that?
I'll move it.
I'll second that. And can we get another roll call vote, please?
Excuse me.
Discussion.
Madam Vice Chair.
Sorry, thank you. Okay, is there discussion?
Yes, if I could, just a quick question on the possible build-out loan. Would that be funded through asset preservation, or does HRA have dollars that would forward that money before it's paid back at a 6% interest rate?
Yeah, Madam Vice Chair, trustees, what we're looking at is we will probably fund it out of the building fund temporarily and just kind of repay it because it's all going to go back in, you know, to the fund. Or we'll probably use the fund that we use to bring the lease revenue in anyway, the 2150. We can probably absorb it in there and just repay it over the 6 years when we get it, because it'll be a monthly fee that will begin with them. Build out will begin immediately. There will be an addendum that the attorney's office has, you know, is just finishing crafting, and then we'll be working with them to make sure that they put their guarantee on that so that we get that money back.
Thank you, Corey. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Trustee Meisner.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And then I know we've been discussing this, but what is the amount that we're talking about, and why isn't it documented, or does that come later once it's finalized?
Trustee Meisner, trustees, basically what we're looking at, their initial amount is probably going to be somewhere around 141,000. We don't know till it's done, and we'll true up what the costs are. We're estimating about 141,000 for the addendum, for the loan, for their need to build out the space that they're looking at, because they are taking over the remainder, the vacant part of the third floor, so they will be our largest tenant and cover the whole third floor. So they're a very good tenant.
Okay, yeah, and then I'm sorry, so follow-up question, Madam Chair. So then when and will the amount be documented somewhere, or how, like, what's the process for that?
Right, Trustee Meisner, the
true-up?
addendum that will be signed will have the final amount.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Trustee Look.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In full disclosure, Bolt Law Firm and I are in a contested legal battle at this point. I communicated with them that I was going to check with our attorney to see if I had a conflict of interest on voting on this. They responded with a letter claiming that it was harassing, and I forget what the other term was, extremely disrespectful in my opinion, because I was disclosing to them that I wanted to make sure there was no conflict on this. And so I will be abstaining from this, although I believe there is no conflict whatsoever. But I will voice my opinion that this is somewhat unusual to start a relationship off this way, but at any rate.
Thank you, Trustee Look. Trustee Meisner?
Thank you, Madam Chair. No, I'm sorry, Trustee Look. So wait, did you say our side said there is no conflict of interest from our attorney's side? Or, I'm sorry, I was confused about who you said there is.
I am in a legal battle with them.
Oh, okay, but then you referred to our attorney's office to see if there was a conflict of interest.
That I would check to see if I had a conflict of interest in deciding anything on this request to expand their
Right.
lease. Right.
Okay, so you have not heard back from our attorney's office?
I have spoken with our Attorney Johnson on this matter, and he does not believe there is a conflict of interest. But seeing as it's non-consequential, you know, I can abstain. I don't,
Sure.
you know.
Yeah, you're just erring on.
Given the discourse I've had, I'd rather not vote for it. How's that for an abstention reason? Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Is there any other questions or comments up for discussion? All right, roll call vote.
Trustee Schulte,
Aye.
trustee Look,
Abstain.
trustee Jepson,
Aye.
trustee Meisner,
Aye.
trustee Breasted,
Aye.
trustee Reinert.
Thank you. And one final addition to the agenda is the consideration to adopt Resolution 2023-03, the resolution prohibiting the use or possession of cannabis on all properties owned by the Anoka County Housing and Redevelopment Authority as defined in the policy. Is there a motion and a second?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Second?
Second with discussion.
Thank you. There's a motion and a second. Open for discussion. Trustee Schulte.
I have one concern because Anoka County owns senior facilities. And there may be somebody there that's legally using medical cannabis. And so we're saying they can't possess or use. I think somehow we have to, and Karen looks like she has the answer, so I'll be quiet and listen.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
The trustees, there is an exemption for anyone who has the certification that they are eligible to use medical marijuana. There are going to be additional, there will be additional discussion on the tenant leases and our smoke-free addendum that will come through the HRA next month. But we felt it was very important to at least send the message that the Anoka County Board has put a policy into place and that our resolution adopts the county board policy, which does include that exemption for persons who are certified.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Any other questions, comments up for discussion? Trustee Meisner.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, this is just mostly just technical process questions because, so this is obviously a separate resolution, but it's pretty much the same. So, okay, so now we have two separate policies, right? We've got a policy living in HRA, this resolution 2023-03. We have the resolution 2023-M7 that the board just voted on. And then we will have an ordinance happening in the future. Okay,
Madam Chair, trustee, we are adopting the county's policy. This is the HRA is a separate legal entity.
Yep.
Is adopting county policies. We do that all the time. We use the county financial policies, the county personnel policy. The HRA will also be using the county policy for the use of recreational marijuana. So one policy is just we as a separate legal entity have to have
Right.
our own resolution.
okay, all right. One policy, okay, I'm sorry. I got it. I just like to, make sure I'm understanding all the technical stuff. Okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
Yes. Trustee Breasted.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Karen, if someone were to have the exemption for medical marijuana, and we have smoke-free buildings, does that allow them to smoke inside their particular unit, even though we have smoke-free buildings?
Madam Chair, trustee, technically they could, although most medical marijuana that a certified patient has is taken in a different form.
Thank you. Any other questions? All right, since we have a motion and a second, roll call.
Trustee Look,
Aye.
Trustee Jepson,
Aye.
Trustee Meisner,
Aye.
Trustee Brasted,
Aye.
Trustee Reiner,
Aye.
Trustee Schulte.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone. Unless there's no further discussion on any other topics, meeting is adjourned.
I like your knuckle.
Catch you today and get his